My name is Trey Mangum, and this is Shadow and Act's Opening Act. Each week, we sit down with some of your favorite black creatives in Hollywood to discuss how they made it in the entertainment industry. This week, we're speaking to Luke James. Primarily known solely as a singer and a performer early in his career, he has since made a huge move into television and film, from The New Edition story to Star and more. He can currently be seen in The Chi on Showtime and is making his Broadway debut this fall with Thoughts of a Colored Man. I opened up this discussion with Luke by exploring the moment when he was a rapidly rising singer and performer. At what point did he know that he wanted to get into acting?
I've spent my entire life just trying to do what I like to do, you know? In some ways, I spent my entire life trying to fail at things I hate doing. So here I am. And it wasn't much of a thought, you know? I've always been like this. I've always wanted to entertain. I've always wanted to create art. I think over time it has evolved. I guess my goal, what was I doing it for? You know, was it to be famous? Was it to say, hey, look at me? Validation of some sort? And I guess in some ways it's evolved into being a vessel. Just wanting to just express myself in the best way possible, musically and also in the film world, to choose projects that some are fun, just fun. That's all what it is, just pure fun. And then majority of them, I think, have some sort of substance to them in a ways that can help humanity. So, I never really put too much thought into like doing both, like making a conscious decision. It just started to happen because I just was doing what I really wanted to do. And I guess when you do that, like from every story that I've ever heard, when people step into their own light, you know, the world just opens, and it just feels like it was in a sense, a conscious decision, but ultimately I was just trying to do what I want to do and love doing, you know? I hated school, so I definitely was like, nah, this ain't, you know, I want to be a little bit more free, a little bit more lax, and, you know, not be so on the gun. I don't want nobody on my neck. So, yeah. Yeah. And, you know, a lot of your roles have also, you've been able to blend both music and acting. And as if you've begun to expand more and more into acting, what's the experience been like trying to, you know, balance between the two? Or you're more so in the fact that you don't really want to make a balance, it's just like whatever comes to you? You know, I think initially, you know, when things started to pick up more for film, you know, as a team, I have a great team, a brilliant team that I couldn't do anything. I can't do anything, not me, without. So trying to find balance, but that's not the way this thing goes. It's not that easy to just do it that way, especially when you're still on the rise, you know, in a sense. I'm choosing adding a new career to my belt, I guess, and this only, you know, film and stuff. I did a project in 2013, but my head wasn't fully in TV and film and acting and whatnot. It was more so music, and, you know, years later, here I am, just trying to figure out, you know, now I have it, now I'm trying to figure out, how do I do both? How can I manage both, and do it at a high level? And I'm still figuring that out. But I get to do what I love doing, and it's all I want to do. All I want to do is create music. All I want to do is create, you know, film and visuals and things that move people in that kind of way. And I'm just expanding my territory.
Yeah.
So my team is solid because they keep me on the timetable, because I'm not good, obviously, with time. So, you know, it stresses me out. So I have people who don't get so stressed out by it. So that's where I land at.
And one of the first times I remember seeing you on screen was that 2013 project you speak of, Black Nativity.
Yeah.
And I also remember you, the next step, I guess, in that progression was in 2017 with the New Edition story.
Yeah.
So out of those two roles, or any roles that you've had early in career, what are some things that you think that you learned back then by being in those positions and having those roles that you've been able to apply in your career now in film and TV?
Well, my experiences definitely have helped me tremendously. You know, because a lot of my early projects have been music. That's just opened the door, you know, because I am a music being, you know, it's in me. So to step on camera and do that, I mean, it just kind of comes natural, and which is a blessing, because that was kind of my, you know, not just dropping dead into a drama that has nothing that I am completely familiar with. So the first couple projects, my familiarity was music based. And also my music business experience, having the letdowns, having the downfalls in my career, or the ones that I thought were, you know, my letdowns or whatever, personally, publicly or whatever. Divine intervention has kind of come into play in that sense, where I've been given projects where I play a struggling artist, trying to find his voice, trying to find his space in this world. And that is, my experience has lended to what I've been able to project honestly, from an honest place. And completely, my best trying to be as completely as honest and open and free. I think I've obviously from one project to the next, you would want to grow. So I feel like I've grown since then. And those things, you know, it's quite like life. You know, as an actor, you have to live life in order to know how to express it, right? It's the same as music. You have to live life to know how to express it. You know, you need to have all of the ups and downs that life gives you in order to be able to see something on a page and in some ways have empathy and an openness for it. Even if you don't understand it, you know, life, other people's stories, other connections that you have kind of like sit there. And, you know, for me, I'm a sponge, so I take in everything. Though I don't think I do, there'd be moments that, wow, I've never had that experience, but I've sat with someone and watched tears come to their eyes, and they've had that experience, and I felt that. So, you know, I hope I answered your question there.
You did. And speaking of, you know, you talked a little bit about, you know, portraying artists, you know, trying to find their way and that sort of thing. And I thought about how this past year has been so transformative in so many ways, due to the global pandemic and basically everything being upended. Like even kind of the fact that we're talking on Zoom now is kind of indicative of the state that we're in. So how do you think going through this pandemic over the past year and, you know, working through the pandemic and during the pandemic has affected your lens as far as what you want in your career and also how you view your craft?
Well, last year I had an opportunity to be still and, yes, really hone in on the things that what are the things that truly move me and that I truly care about and that, you know, mean the most to me and that are there for me. People, you know, etc. Things, you know, and my craftsmanship. Last year, I never had a relationship. I never had a true relationship with the piano. And I received an opportunity which pushed me to want to be, as far as with the opportunity to do to capture this opportunity and be my best at it. I needed to know the piano. And as an artist, you sit there and say, why you never really tried to learn the piano anyway? You know, you're an artist. So last year it gave me an opportunity to do nothing but learn the piano, develop a real relationship with it, not just for a part, but also for me as an artist, me as a musician, in totality, you know, and which I have. Now I can play the piano. It's bizarre because it was just yesterday to me that I was only, you know, 2 steps from just playing with 4 fingers, you know? You know what I mean? Or playing the same thing over and over. Now I am, well, in a sense, becoming well-versed in it. And that's what I gathered from that. It allowed me to just really let go of the things that really don't really mean much in the sense of what this world has been going through, and just honing in onto my skills and just being better, staying in the gym, getting my mental health, keeping my mental health right, you know, my heart right. And also, you know, as I'm pursuing an acting career, I want to be the best actor I can be. So I read books and you know, I watched plenty of films and just dissected them, plenty of interviews of people I admire, and I've watched their work and I want to know more about them. I've watched you guys talk to so many people, you know, and that has been part of what I've been doing, my downloading, and I'm continuing that, you know. I think hopefully everyone is, you know, like you want to grab the best habits and keep them going, and they've worked tremendously well for me. So in some sense, I'm grateful for the stillness.
This week's Black Entertainment Trivia Fact. Barry Jenkins has a story by credit on a recent film. Which film was it? Sylvie's Love, Charm City Kings, or Coming to America? Find out the answer next week on ShadowandAct.com. I also want to talk about The Chi, because first of all, I think that so many people were so excited the last season when you joined the show, because there were so many fans of Star that wanted to see you in another series regular role, and then you know, The Chi comes on recurring, and then you get bumped up to series regular on that. So how does it feel being on this show, and also how did you even get involved with The Chi?
Well, Lena Waithe, me and her had been running into each other at different events, Essence Festival, yada yada yada, and you know, to my knowledge, to my surprise, we didn't know each other, but she knew of me from my past of when I first moved to LA with my brother, and we were, you know, pursuing our career as a duo, Luke and Q. And we were signed to a production company that was in the same building as Tracy Edmonds' production. If you know Lena's story, she was an intern for Tracy Edmonds. Me and my brother used to live on the elevator, well, live in that building, but we used to live on that elevator because they were always having auditions, and there was always plenty of beautiful women going up to the top floor. So he and I would always scheme our way to the top floor. I don't remember her, but she remembers us and me. And so she always said, yo, told me that story, and yo, we will work together. We're gonna work together. And I mean, a year and a half later, you know, Star got canceled, and you know, I began my quest on just auditioning, self-tapes and whatnot, and this came through. This particular role for this particular project, I was already a fan, you know, being that, you know, my little brother Jacob Lattimore, you know, Jason Mitchell, you know, these people I know, and so I was already tapped into the show, and I love the show. And here I am having this opportunity to portray such a complex character that, in a sense, is something I had been asking for. Because at this present moment, I said, my next gig, I want to be a vessel. I want to do something that's challenging, but also do something that will help the world. Because at the end of the day, art, you know, our art, black art, for sure, black art, is supposed to shake the world because it is needed. We don't have the complete luxury of imagining just a melancholy kind of world when we live in a state of shock all the time. In some ways, yes, we have those shows that help us escape, but this show is not particularly escapism. And I liked it. I liked that. And I wanted to do something that was challenging in that sense. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that it's so important, like you said, being a vessel and like showing this type of work, because your character of Trig is part of such important representation on this show and just all of pop culture in general, because Trig is dating a transgender woman. Yeah. And I think that's such an important story.
Transgender woman.
Yes. It's such an important story to be told and to be seen on screen. You know, we've seen it so much. Pose has created such a avenue and lane for this. But as for you as an actor and being on this show, how important was it for you to be a part of telling this story, which is quite frankly, very revolutionary as far as Black television shows go? I agree.
And I'm still gathering. That's still, I talk a lot, but I'm still gathering where the weight of what that is, what we've been doing and what we have done. It's an important story. It's important to show that particular type of Black person. And it's important to show love in all its facets, not just all one way that man has decided is the only way to love someone, the only way you should or could. Love comes in so many different ways and so many different colors and shapes and sizes, and love is real, and love is the truest thing we can ever want in life. And so how could we create art and say that it is art for all when you don't have everybody in it and everybody shown in their life? Because you walk outside, it's there. So I don't know if I've answered your question.
You got it. But, I also think about how love is also just important in the show in general. Like, not just romantic love, right, but also, platonic love, right, the love between Trig and Jake. Like, yeah, it's kind of a common theme throughout the show, and I think that's important too, because we also don't really see that as much as we need to like there doesn't have to be like a romantic relationship in order to portray Black love on screen.
It's important because in some ways Black people are viewed like we're just some reckless, lustful, promiscuous, full of whatever energy and just keep on. But you got to show our highs and our lows, and our the biggest piece of being a Black person is that we have love. Our love is just extremely strong, obviously, because we'd be at war. But it's important to show that dynamic of all what Black love looks like in all its facets. And I'm grateful to the writers and the creators for being so ballsy and courageous, and the actors and everybody in the crew and so on to want to be a part of such a show, to help shift the world, into what we think a better place.
Yeah, and we're coming close to the tail end of the season for this year. Unfortunately.
Just wrapped last week. It feels crazy.
So what are some ways that you think fans could be surprised about how certain storylines continue to play out as the season moves forward?
It was surprising in so many different ways, and it's hard for me to talk about something without giving so much away. I think, fans need to just understand. I think if fans look at it from a perspective of this show is different from any other show. We're not Power. We're not Snowfall. We're not all the other shows. We're not that. We're a different show, and hopefully you accept it for what it is. It is about Black life in Chicago. A few Black lives in Chicago. Yes, there are many more, but these are some stories. And hopefully you are willing to take the ride, which I think people are. It's 4 seasons. It's a blessing to have 4 seasons strong. And it's a slow burn, but that's life. Life is a slow burn. It's forever. And, I think, just be open and willing to just take the ride and see where these people go, because, we're watching these children grow up. We're watching people grow up and be better people. Each character is growing and finding their way. And Trig himself, like Imani, like Emmett, like Tiff, like everyone else is trying to find, like Kev, like everyone is trying to find themselves and find their way, like all of us are. And that is the overall theme of the show, is being able to watch these people fall and see them how they get up and how hard it is, but they do get up. So just be open and enjoy this Black art that is for us, for everyone. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, yeah. And to close out, I know that you have...
Also, I just want to say that, in regards to like my character, I think it's also important to show this type of person who doesn't consider themselves a certain way that society says he should be, or who he should be, that society's deciding who he should be. Because there are plenty of men who struggle with their identity in that sense because they don't know where they fit in. And in a sense, you don't have to choose. You can be, as long as happiness is within you, love is there. It doesn't matter when anyone wants to put a title on or whatever. You can put a title if you want to put a title, but ultimately, you don't have to choose, and you can be free, man. You can break yourself free of that bondage to be some type of thing that ultimately is killing you to be. And I'm grateful to be able to be a vessel to tell that story.
Yeah, and you're doing a good job at it too. So kudos to you for that. And one last thing, I also wanted to talk about, what are some things that you hope to accomplish in your career soon? I know that you have Broadway coming up soon, so that's super exciting. What are some things that are on your radar that you hope to check off your list? Man,
I just want to be a part of blockbuster hits, man. Blockbuster hits that mean something, that lend to society, and we can look at and be proud of. And so far, I've been doing things in that range, and I'm grateful. And I want to have fun in that sense. I want to do some things that really lend to history and telling our history and whatnot. Like Broadway, making history, all black cast, black producers, black directors, writers. I mean, first
so
ever.
Exciting.
And that is exciting, and I am scared as shit, but I'm excited as hell. And I want to continue to expand my territory and do things like that. What it is, I don't know, but so far, music, film, and we'll see what else happens next. I just want to keep growing and having the best time as possible, and hopefully helping people to find some sense of self within what we do.
Luke James spoke to us about why he decided to get into acting, the power of representation when it comes to his role in The Chi, balancing both music and acting, and much, much more. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Opening Act with Luke James. Be sure to give us a 5-star rating and review wherever you download podcasts. You can watch this interview in full, as well as catch exclusive content on lunchtable.com. Create an account and watch all sorts of Shadow and Act content, such as Shadow and Act Live and Reel It Back. Until next time.